Back with the Get Out of Debt Guy. I'm Steve Rhode, the old, original, authentic, aged, bald Get Out of Debt Guy. And with me, as always, is Damon Day, the new, fresh, sweet smelling Get Out of Debt Guy. Hey, say hello, Damon.
Hey, Steve, you've been bald since I've known you, and I've known you a long
Yeah, I know.
time. So, although I have evidence, I have seen a photo of Steve with hair. It
Yeah,
does
hair and a
exist.
beard.
Yeah, I mean, he just had it all
Oh,
going on, and then he just said,
yeah,
"Nope, I'm done with
yeah.
hair. I don't like
No.
hair."
What happened was God said to me, no more head hair for you, but all the ear hair you want. I can grow an eyebrow like nobody,
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Well, if you let it grow long enough, you could
Yeah.
comb up and over.
No, when I was much, much younger, I saw a guy get caught in the wind with a big comb over. And, and
Oh,
I
poor
think I was
guy.
like 9 years old or something. And I made a mental note back then. Nope.
That's some pretty forward thinking for a
Well, the
9-year-old.
guy's comb over hung down to his shoulder on one side. It was ugly.
Toupees have come a long
That
way
was a
these
long
days.
time before Hair Club for Men.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what we need to do. You've listened to our episodes, you've run the numbers, you've written down numbers, and you understand your options. So, why haven't you done anything yet? Here's what I've learned over the years in the debt relief area. The thing stopping you isn't the debt. It's not even the solutions. It's not even the money. Let's be honest, it's something deeper. A fear that you might not be able to name. And today we're going to name it because once you can see it clearly, it starts to lose its power. Damon, one thing that I've observed this week, I have all these free tools on the getoutofdebt.org website. And it's
Yeah.
been interesting that the tools that allow people to assess situations before they get into it, like the contract decoder or the scamometer, people don't use as much as they do the wage garnishment calculator, the, the statute of limitations calculator. It just, reinforces the fact that people take action once it's hit the fan and not proactively. And, part of that is the focus of the show today that, why people don't step up early. But we'll get to that in a moment. Let's hit the latest news on the getoutofdebt.org site. If you haven't subscribed to the weekday newsletter and you want to stay in touch with everything that's happening in the credit and debt and your life world, then go to getoutofdebt.org. Big subscribe button at the top. So, Damon, what caught your eye this week?
Well, I must say, speaking of all those awesome tools, that you've built. I mean, Steve, you've really let your hair down in the last 2 weeks and been getting after it, man. There's a lot of great tools for consumers on the
Yeah.
website. So if you haven't been, get on over to getoutofdebt.org. Steve's redesigned the site. May or may not have used some AI
Oh,
to do it,
absolutely.
but it looks really good. And you know what's crazy is to make a site like this 10 years
Oh, yeah.
ago, the tens of thousands of dollars it would have cost you.
Yeah.
And now you've got an aged dude with AI just whipping it out in his basement.
Yeah,
Wait, that didn't come out right.
Yeah, the first Get Out of Debt overhaul that I did on the site, like almost 20 years ago now, cost me $5,000. So,
Yeah. And that was $5,000
right.
20 years ago. So that was like $8 million in today's
Yeah.
money.
Well,
I think the math is correct. You might want to check
I
it.
think might be 16 and a cheeseburger, but
Yeah.
all right. So, what stories caught your eye?
So there was a couple, but I will start with the one that I think we've touched on before, but I think it's so important. I think it's worth mentioning it again because this was an article that you wrote last month, actually. But the headline is 73% of credit
Yeah.
card debt is from essentials, not overspending. And the article talks about the $1.2 trillion in credit card debt. And the fact that most of that is not because people are just willy-nilly taking
Right.
vacations and just going out to eat, 50 times a week or anything like that. It's that just life in America has gotten so expensive that people have had no choice but to put this stuff on cards for groceries and gas and car repairs and things like that. And I think it's important to keep mentioning because it's going to tie into what we're talking about today, the fear and the shame and I'm a failure and I have this debt. And a lot of it is not, again, because you're just out there overspending. It's just
Mhm.
this inflation and the fact that your dollar is going, less and less and less. And so you're not really increasing your
Right.
lifestyle. You're just trying to maintain a lifestyle in an increasingly expensive world.
People who find themselves sliding into problem debt and waking up with that fear and shame one morning are not bad people. This stuff happens. And I think the biggest tragedy is not that someone finds himself in trouble. You don't judge people, I don't judge people. You've been there, I've been there. The biggest tragedy is saying I'm going to deal with this tomorrow or, not really looking at options on how to deal with the situation as proactively as possible. Like, for example, before I forget, like reaching out to you and having a free call. Go to Damon Day, DAMONDAY.com, and just talk through the situation. It doesn't mean you need to do anything. You don't need to sign up for anything. Just just explore your options before the entire bucket of shit hits the fan.
Yeah. And if you're constantly looking at, your debt and going, how in the heck did we get into this? And you can't, put your finger on what you bought that got you $80,000 in
Yeah.
credit card debt. Go to the site and just type in the search bar, credit card debt is from Essentials. The article will pop right up. It's a great article. And for most of you, it'll probably be an aha moment. Like, this is
Yeah.
why we're in debt. So now that you've identified why, now we can take steps to
Yeah.
fix
And the
it.
other thing is that people hopefully will understand more and more that they're not alone, that this isn't a personal failure. This is just the way things work right now.
Oh, you're not alone, but it
Oh,
feels like you're alone
absolutely.
because this is not stuff that anybody likes to talk about. But I hear it every day from
Yeah.
clients, right? Because when they call me, they open up about it, and I'm somebody they can tell about this without fear of shame or judging or anything like that. But this is not something you want to talk to your brother about or your parents about or a friend. You don't want to start. Oh yeah, I've got this debt and this that. Nobody wants to have that conversation, right? We're all on social media. Nobody posts on social media. So I woke up today and looked at my credit card
I'm
statement and
screwed.
holy shit. Yeah. I've been on Facebook for 15 years and I've never seen that post from anybody, but yet as a group we're $1.2 trillion in credit
Yeah.
card debt, but you wouldn't know it by looking at any Instagram, Facebook or
Would you
nothing,
love to see an
right?
Instagram post of a beautiful meal at a restaurant? Here's the dish I couldn't afford.
Yeah. And then the next picture is them dashing out the door, doing a little
Yeah.
dine and dash. Like, I can't pay for this.
Yeah. Here's the DoorDash car that would have stopped.
Sir, I'm sorry, but your credit card got declined.
Hmm.
That sounds like a you problem.
Should start asking for deposits before we.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? Restaurants may start doing that. You're going to have to put a little something down before we bring you
Yeah,
that steak.
that's actually it's not out of the realm of things that might happen considering how expensive meals are becoming.
Ah, shoot, dude. Can I get that tri-tip on layaway and then eat it in a few hours?
I can only afford
I got a little.
a unit tip.
Yeah. I imagine that old Chris Rock sketch when he's like talking about how broke he is or something. And he's like, I just want one rib. Give me one rib. And then he's like, can I have a soda? Just pour it in my hand.
Yeah,
That's how I feel when I go grocery shopping to California and they're like, how many bags do you have? And just out of principle, I'm like, None. I'll just carry this shit out. I ain't paying for a bag.
Watch me juggle it.
I'm spending $300 on groceries and you want to charge me per bag now?
Yeah.
Screw you. Add half a cent into some of my items and let me just have my bags. Give me a break.
I was at the grocery store the other day, and the plastic grocery bags are now so thin that they have to triple bag them so your shit doesn't fall out.
Yeah. And then they're like, oh, so how many bags do you have? I got none. I got none, lady. No bags.
All right, well, here's a story.
Oh, that
here's a story that caught my attention. I just published today. Home sold without owner knowing. 3 arrested.
I saw that one. I saw that. Yeah.
So, I don't know if you've seen them, but I've seen more commercials about monitor your deed, so that people don't steal your deed, claim that they now own your property type thing.
They're everywhere, but I still haven't decided if this is a drummed up thing that maybe has happened a few times and now they're trying to sell their service of we'll protect you from this, like a used car warranty.
Yeah.
I'm just calling about your used car warranty. Or it's a real legit thing that is, as big as they make it seem. And this is a real problem we need to start worrying about.
The problem with the commercial is if you read the fine print, the claims that they use are like 15 years old. So that leads you to believe, oh, you got a dog. That
would be my little Maltese. Yeah, she a tree blows 4 doors down and she's on top of it.
Well, we'll see what happens with the bark in the edit. So you look at that disclaimer on those ads and it looks like, wow, it just looks like they're pumping this up. But I got mail.
When we hit 300 subscribers, I don't know how many subscribers we have in the podcast, but when we hit enough, maybe we should get a real studio.
Maybe not. So anyway,
I think we need more than 300 subscribers to afford a real studio, though.
Let's see.
You can stop talking in the mailroom, bro.
I don't know. I love my mailroom. I don't know what I got. Anyway, so what I found out in this article is that the National Association of Realtors said that 63% of real estate professionals reported awareness of deed and title fraud in their markets within the past year. And the FBI does warn that quitclaim deed fraud is on the rise. So, another thing I discovered in writing this article is that your local county where deeds are recorded might offer a service that allows you to have a notification if something is recorded against your property. And so sure enough, I went to my local county and looked at their website, and they do have an alert service, and I signed up on the spot. So rather than
that seems very smart.
Rather than pay for something, you can just go and get it for free. Check your local county recorder of deeds.
So that would be something I would get behind for sure, because what's the downside?
Yeah, there's no downside.
Right? Hey, you know what? If something looks funny, give me a call. Shoot me a text.
Exactly.
Knock out a telegraph. Like, give me a heads up here. Like, that sounds like a good idea. If you own a home, you should check into that. So what's the title of that article if they want to get some more details on what they might need to do?
Home sold without owner knowing.
Yeah, and that article I saw, I just glanced at it, but it was something like they made off with almost $1 million.
$1.5 million. Right? And what was clever about this particular thing was it involved somebody in the mortgage industry, a real estate broker. It was all well orchestrated, but the people who did this were not like 20-something. They were 63, 50, and 46.
Well, I mean, you're old and you're like an AI guru all of a sudden. So just because you're old doesn't mean you can't figure out new stuff.
The 54-year-old is still on the run. They haven't caught that person yet. But
smart. Well, you could do a lot with $1 million. He might have just disappeared himself.
In fact, the article does say be wary of title lock services because these monitoring services charge monthly fees for something you can get for free.
So what do? They charge you a fee and then they just go to your local recorder and put an alert on and then link it to their number or what?
Could be.
They're like, we're gonna charge you $30 a month to make one phone call
I
for
mean,
you.
you could actually do it pretty easy with AI because somebody signs up for the service. All you have to do is just generate an agent to go out and search that record once a day.
Or you could do what like a lot of these debt settlement companies do that pretend to have, attorneys working for you, is you just have a pro rata refund and they just play the they play the
Yeah,
odds, and anything that you get sued on, they refund you on that
yeah.
account, and they just make money hand over fist on the accounts that you don't get sued on, even though they didn't do anything.
Was there another article that caught your attention?
There was, there was, and now I'm going to choke to death. So there was two other articles, Steve. Do you want to jump into the robocalls worth potentially $1,500 each, or do you want to talk about Rent a
Rent a
Tribe?
Tribe, please, for 500.
Rent a Tribe. Rent a Tribe just sounds fun. That sounds like a whimsical thing. How do you rent a tribe? So this article was a lender was sued under RICO. Shit just got real. Um, for alleged Rent a Tribe payday scheme with 700% APR. And this is talking about those horrible, horrible tribal
Yeah,
loans, right? Where the tribes are not subject to the same rules and regulations that non-tribal lenders are subject to. Things like charging 700% is illegal for anybody other than a tribe, right? So what these lenders apparently are doing is renting a tribe. Like, hey, let's partner up. We'll do all of our lending through you
yeah,
guys. You guys don't have to do anything, but we'll just break you off a piece. And then we'll start charging rates that we could not charge if we didn't rent you
yeah.
guys. So they're borrowing
But the
tribes.
reason is because um, sovereign immunity. So tribes claim that they're not subject to federal laws because they are sovereign nations, and that's how they try to get around it.
Yeah. And the bottom line is these loans are so if you're in a spot where you feel like that your cash flow is so bad that you are, figuring, well, I'm going to just get this loan. Because everybody that gets these loans knows they're
Hmm.
bad, but they somehow get themselves in a spot mentally where they feel like, okay, I know that's bad, but I'm just going to get it because I need this cash for the next few things. And then next week, I'm going to turn the corner. I'm going to get this paid off. And it never works like that. Once you get into this, you're stuck into it, and it will just bleed your cash flow until you either go bankrupt or you stop paying them or you try to hide. It's not going to end well. At best, you're delaying the inevitable for a couple more weeks, maybe a month or two. But if you're at a point where you feel like you need a loan like this, where the terms are so bad that a regular lender can't do it, just call me
Yeah,
first.
that's
Let's
right.
talk it through. There's going to be some other options that we can probably look at that don't involve you signing up for something that's 3, 4, 5, 600% interest rate. That's not what you want.
And this is
I thought 30% is like, oh my gosh, what is 30%? And these guys are like, hold my
yeah.
beer.
Well, and this is another one of those situations where people are afraid or ashamed to reach out, and so they don't ask for help. But with most of these rent a tribe um, loans, they are unenforceable under most state laws if you just, raise a complaint or put your hand up or whatever. So again,
That is
another
true.
asking for help can save you if you reach out for help.
Yeah. So a lot of times or I shouldn't say a lot of times, but sometimes there's ways to get out of them. But it's kind of like a timeshare. It sounds like, okay, it's something you need. And then nobody ever's like, I'm so glad I bought that timeshare 10 years ago. Like, I've never
Yeah.
heard that. Like, it's just, the way I look at it is if they have to fly you out to some exotic location and have professional salespeople wear you down for 3 days to say yes, how are you, the normal average Joe, supposed to resell that when you're
Oh
done with
yeah.
it by putting it on a website and hoping somebody's just going to come across it and want to buy it?
It's not going to happen.
You had to get flown out somewhere to be convinced to buy it. And you're never going to be able to resell it. You're stuck. Don't get timeshares
All
either.
right.
I don't know how I got to timeshares.
I don't know.
Rent it, tribal loans and timeshares. Just
Just
say
say
no.
no. Okay. Your choice
Yeah.
now. Do you want me to talk about the states with the most consumer debt or the car repossession that happened with the mom and child inside.
Um, yeah, I think Maine was the state with the most, if I remember the article, it was the most consumer debt. But the repo with the child and the mom sounds fun.
That's this happened in take a wild guess, Florida. Um,
No way. Florida man strikes again.
well, Florida has a very interesting law that says that a creditor may repossess your car without a court order only if the repossession proceeds without breach of peace, meaning if the debtor verbally objects, then they have to stop right there. Well, in this particular case, what happened was Honda, American Honda Finance, that had the loan, subcontracted out to another company who subcontracted out to another company called 9 Second Recovery. And boy, did they live up to their name.
Will you look at this? Will you look at this right here?
According to the complaint, so the title of this article is Honda Repo Agents Towed Car with Mom and Child Inside. So,
But did they say stop?
oh, yeah. To make it even,
Collaborate and
to
listen.
make it even worse, they called the local police who came out and told the repossession.
Why they were getting towed? They were on the phone with 911. That's awesome. That's
told
great.
the repo agent, go ahead. So, as it says in the post, when repo agents hook a car with a mother and child inside and keep going after she says stop, that's not debt collection. That's recklessness, and the law is clear.
I think it's kidnapping, actually. I think it would meet the definition.
Yeah. So the story is this mother drove home in her Honda Pilot, and she parked at her home, and she pulled into her driveway, dropped her son off, and then backed into the street while waiting for him to move his bicycle. A spotter for the repo company drove into her driveway and blocked her from re-entering. So pulled in front of her. And then a second agent arrived in a tow truck, hooked up, and lifted the occupied vehicle with the woman and her daughter inside. As you can imagine.
So it gets worse. So the son got abandoned in the driveway?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Now them's fighting words at that point.
She immediately objected and repeatedly told the agents to stop, and the agents continued with the repossession despite her objections.
This should be jail time. Literally, can you imagine the mother in that situation? She can't get out of the car. Her daughter's in there, and now she's getting pulled away. And I don't know how old her son is, but he's moving his bicycle, so he's probably not that old. The house is probably locked, so the kid's stuck out front as the mom gets towed away with the mom and the sister. I mean, there should be jail time here.
All right, so people can go read the article. All right.
Wait! Don't leave me hanging. Did they damn go to jail?
No, they didn't go to jail, but this suit was filed yesterday or today, so it's brand new. So, like the mother, I'm going to have to leave you
in
hanging.
Florida. In Florida, can you stand your ground while your vehicle's being towed? I'd be shooting. I got my kids being abandoned in the front yard. I'm shooting.
It's Florida. It's possible.
Yeah, well, so I'm sure she had a gun in there. It's Florida.
I heard somebody say once, why does all the crazy shit happen in Florida? And the answer to it was, the weather's nice.
Florida man. Something in the water.
All right. So enough of the news. If you want to get the daily newsletter, getoutofdebt.org. All right, Damon, let's get back to talking about the subject for this show. We're going to talk about the shame that people feel and the fear when they run into debt. I mean, if you feel like you're earning good money, you have a high income, the only thing that's different between you and somebody who's just getting by is you have enough income that you're able to string it out further and get yourself in deeper. And so you often don't reach out for help before the numbers are really, really big. So the fear is If I admit this is real, I have to admit you're a failure. You're not a damn failure. You're just somebody that
Yeah.
got yourself in a situation, oftentimes for reasons beyond your control. And, I think we've talked about it many times, but a company that finds themselves, a corporation that finds themselves in these situations is applauded for doing the right thing and stepping up and taking action. And people, individuals that find themselves in difficult situations, again, beyond their control, um, are, you got the Dave Ramseys of the world and others that try to spread fear and shame, and somehow that's a moral failure. It's not.
Oh, remind me before this podcast is over. I got to share the client's Dave Ramsey story from
Oh,
last
well,
night. I'm
you
sure
might
he
as well
wouldn't
do it
mind me
right now.
sharing it. So I had Steve and I always joke. I get long-time listener, first-time callers, and it's people call in for my help, and they're, oh, I've been listening to you guys for a while. Anyway, I'm sure he won't mind me sharing the story, but we were talking about different options, and I mentioned, looking at Ramsey's, solution, just kind of going through all the different options. And he's like, oh, I know how you guys feel about Dave Ramsey's strategy. I've been listening to you guys for a long time. And he goes, I've been trying that for 4 years and it's not working. I need a different strategy. He goes, I even did the whole get a roommate thing. And he goes, you know what happened when I got a roommate? The guy wasn't paying his rent, so it made it worse. He goes, it took me 4 months to finally get him out. He goes, I'm not doing that again. Just made the problem worse. He's like, I just turned into a debt collector
Yeah.
overnight because I got this guy living in my house that's never paying his rent on time. Just costing me money. So sometimes get a roommate is just not the answer.
Well, and that you bring up a great point, which is if you launch into a program like, we just use Dave Ramsey as an example. There are plenty of others.
Just because everybody knows who he is. So
plenty of others, like that. But if you launch into a program like that and then you find yourself not being able to call in and, shout and everything else, that doesn't mean you're a failure. It just means,
yeah, I wonder if they let people through on his radio show that call in and say, hey, I followed the advice.
Yeah.
I got a roommate and he wouldn't pay his rent. So now I'm deeper in debt. Can I get some advice? I wonder if those people ever even get through on that
that's why
show.
they have call screeners.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, your problem is it didn't work? Hold on. Click.
Yeah. It was, I mean, it was just not funny, haha, but it was just like, I tried that. I got the roommate and then he didn't pay the rent. I'm like, that could be a problem.
Yeah. When you're trying to launch into a solution to a problem that's going to take 5 years of beans and rice and baby steps, tiny feet thing, and the odds are that it's just not going to work because life happens. I mean, if you just look at how much the economy has changed in the last 5 years, look at somebody that launched into that type of strategy 3 years ago, and then inflation exploded, and now all they've done is waste 3 years.
Yeah, and not really even know why. They're like, my budget hasn't
I'm a
changed.
failure.
I'm making the same sacrifices. Exactly. And that's what we were talking about earlier, that article, 73% of credit card debt is on essentials. If you're, I'd say, you're slowly getting boiled. Like, you boil the frog slowly and they don't notice. I think it's going so fast now. We're all starting to notice we're getting boiled. It's not even a slow boil anymore. It's like I'm at Taco Bell. My burrito is $8. Right. You go get a cheese quesadilla at Taco Bell. It's like $6 or $7 for tortilla and cheese.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah. My wife went out to a fast food restaurant with a friend the other day for lunch, and I saw the charge come through, and it was $27. And she got home, and I said, "Oh, did you pick up Jane's lunch too?" And she went, "No."
That's just for you?
20.
I did the same. I was doing my keto day the other day, right? And I was like, okay, I can't have any carbs. And I went by this Greek, is it gyro or gyro?
The answer is yes to both.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Okay. So I was getting one of those things and I couldn't have the pita bread. So I got it on a salad, right? And it was good. It was a salad with all the gyro euro meat on there and an iced tea. And of course, they spin the thing around, so you feel
Yeah.
obligated to tip. So I tipped a little bit. The lady was nice. It's $30, Steve.
For just you?
And this was a fast food. Yeah, just me. And it's a fast food type place where you can, like, they have a couple of
Yeah.
tables. You can sit if you want to eat, or most people just get it and go out. $30.
Damn.
I was like, I should just go get a pizza. Forget this no carb thing. Moly, $30
Well,
for a salad with meat
as
on
an
it.
aside, you know how good that meat is, right?
It
Yeah.
was good. I don't know if it was $30 good,
Well,
but it was good.
when I lived in England, that was called Donner meat. Okay, and you could get a pizza with that on it, and that was
Like after the reindeer?
no, maybe
Donner
Donner.
and
Yeah.
Blitzen.
Well, no, you got Blitzened at that place, but I
Hey, I'd rather eat the reindeer than be named after Jeffrey Dahmer's place.
Donner, not Dahmer.
Oh,
Yeah.
Donner. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
right.
anyway, they put that stuff on pizzas, and that is amazing.
You're talking about the
Yeah.
lamb meat.
They put it on pizzas.
The Euro
Yeah.
lamb meat.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's good. It's really good. But you can't. I've never found it here in the States. Hey, anyway.
Well, you can get it at my place for $30.
Yeah, hold the salad.
Yeah. And then go next door and get a $15 pizza. Now you got a $45 meal with your Donner meat on it.
Anyway. So, if you come home and you admit to your wife that you just spent $30 on a salad, you might feel a little bit of fear or shame, but that's not the biggest thing that spouses run into. Over the years, all my decades of helping people, it's always been the hidden fear and shame of admitting what your financial situation really is. The biggest case that comes to mind is a guy I worked with decades ago who said to me, Steve, my fiance of 7 years said to me, unless we get married, I'm going to leave. And the only reason I haven't asked her to marry me is because I'm so ashamed about my finances. And I said, so what happened? And he said, she left. He just couldn't talk to her about it.
Yeah. Yeah, you shared that story before. And it was like, the thing that you're doing to try to avoid the thing that you're afraid will happen ends up happening anyway. And it's worse.
Yeah. So the thing I've observed over the years is it doesn't matter husband or wife, but whoever is hiding the debt, if you can come up with a plan, like you talked to Damon, you come up with a strategy and a plan, and then you go and sit down and have that talk with your spouse, things will be frosty for a little bit, but it is so much better to approach the other person with a plan than just a problem.
And I will tell you from years of experience, you are not the only person out there who has a financial issue that their spouse is not aware of. It's actually fairly common, especially if you guys keep your finances separate and one spouse tends to be in charge of all the bills, all the spending, and sometimes people separate like that, where one would be like, well, I'm going to go out and earn the money, and then you focus on spending it. That's your kind of role here. And so, oftentimes the spouse earning the money has no idea what's going on. And then sometimes the spouse that's earning the money is also the one handling all the money. And so the other spouse is not really involved in that at all, other than when they want to buy something, there's money in the account. And it's very common. I deal with it a lot. And I will say that they're going to find out about it eventually. They will. And the longer you wait, the bigger the problem is typically going to get. Because as much as you think it's hard to kind of keep that issue separate, and there's lots of reasons. I want to protect them. I don't want them to stress. There's nothing they could really do about it. Like, these are all things you think of in your head. But the longer you wait, the worse the problem is, the bigger it's going to get. And as hard as you thought it was to kind of maintain the status quo without them finding out, the bigger the problem gets, the more likely they are going to find out, especially if you get to the point where you can't keep juggling everything anymore. They will find out, and it's much better that they find out, like what Steve was talking about, when you go to them with, hey, here's what's going on, here's why it's going on, and here is my plan to fix it. You want to go to them with a plan, don't just want to dump a problem in their lap. You know, that's the worst thing you can do is, well, we're screwed. Here it is. That's not
No.
It's not the way you want to go
No.
about it. It's like, we've got this issue. Here's why we've got the issue, but here's what we can do about it. And it's going to suck, but it's going to be better than them getting a call from a random debt collector and being very confused about why a debt collector.
Yeah, I mean, I can think of 2 instances where one spouse, actually turns out to be the husband in this case, in both cases, was so ashamed about telling his wife and family about their situation. In one case, he came home and killed them all because he was so ashamed about his debt. And in the other case, he threw his wife off the 15th floor balcony because he was too ashamed of his debt.
Well, normally I'm the joke guy. I'm not even sure how to respond to that. That is
so don't let it get to that point. You know, much better
find somebody you can talk it through with. Whether it's me or not, find somebody you can. It's never as bad as you've got it built up in your mind. It never is. There's always solutions.
It will. Hey, I mean, let's be honest. It will get a little frosty for a few days. Okay, but it thaws with a solution. And if you can approach the other partner with a solution, it is, you know, so much better than just bringing the problem.
100%. I mean, I even have clients where the reason they're in debt is because they had, a gambling problem. But now, now they're in treatment and they're getting help. And every case that I can remember, the spouse still stuck with them, and they're like, okay, we're in this together. We're going to do it together. We're going to get you some help, and then we're going to figure out how to deal with the debt. I've got several clients that are, in rehab for different things, whether it's, substance or gambling or whatever. So it doesn't matter why you're in the debt. What's important is recognizing that there's an issue, addressing that issue, and then moving forward, right? That's what you can do, is you can move forward. The good news is you can change your circumstances whenever you want.
And also, you and I have, after all our many years, we've heard every situation. I honestly don't think there's anything that can shock me, even pitching your wife over the balcony, when it comes to debt.
I mean, that wouldn't be the solution that I recommend. No. Right? There's other ones we can look at. I'm still not even sure, but logically that wouldn't make sense at all. No. But when you're in a state of panic and emotions are running high and you're scared, you don't make good decisions. So that's why it's important to have somebody you could talk it through with. Because then when you say, I'm going to pitch my wife over the cruise ship, I could be like, nah, I don't recommend that. And here's a couple options we could look at instead. That would probably work out better for both you and your wife.
I'm afraid what she's going to think of me when I tell her how much debt I'm in.
But I wonder what went through her mind before she went, into the water. Like, what? It'd be like, what the hell?
Not a good day.
Yeah, let's not do that. Let's not.
Okay, another reason people say that they're afraid to take some sort of action is the fear of this is going to impact my credit report, my credit score.
Oh, that's the biggest one. Everybody's afraid of the credit score.
Yeah, and the reality is that you and I know, who cares? Let's fix it, and your credit score can be, rehabbed pretty quickly.
All you have to do is break it down with pros and cons. Different options. How will this option affect my score? How will this option affect my score? How much money will I save if I do this, or if I do this, or I do that? How much is it going to cost me to do this? You just start breaking it down. Again, pros and cons. You break it down, and then you realize protecting your credit score in the short term is definitely not the be-all, end-all. And it becomes easy. It's like, well, okay, do you want a good credit score, or do you want $100,000 in the bank account, or whatever the situation is?
Or do you want to lose $800,000 in retirement that you could have saved if you had taken action?
99% of the time when somebody tells me, what about my credit score? I said, well, that's fine. That's a valid concern. Let's talk it through. We talk about what they're planning on using their credit score for over the next few years, We look at the opportunity costs of, trying to maintain that, how much it's going to cost them both now and in the future. And we look at how much they can save if they say, you know what, my credit score is not that big a deal for a couple of years. 99% of the time I break it down and they go, oh yeah, my credit score is not worth that much to
Right.
me. Okay, that's
Right.
fine.
Exactly.
Let's just go ahead and solve the actual problem, because most of the time you trying to protect this number, this bullshit number, has made your situation worse. You've been trying to protect this credit score for years, so refuse to take any action other than I'm going to keep paying, I'm going to keep paying, I'm going to keep paying, and you get further in debt, further in debt, further in
Draining the
debt,
accounts.
and it will make you sick when you finally sit down and add up how much money you've spent, and I'm doing air quotes, protecting your credit score that's done nothing for you but allowed you to get more personal consolidation loans and get deeper into
Right.
debt. Because you're not solving the problem, you're just trying to protect the credit score.
Yeah. Don't be a prisoner of your credit score. There are.
Yeah, talk to me. I'll break it down for you. And again, I'm not going to beat you over the head with your credit score doesn't matter. In some cases, it does. In some cases, it actually does matter in the short term. So you create a plan for that. I have clients that come to me and say, hey, look, I've got all this debt. I can't afford it, but we're, in the middle of moving
Yeah.
right now. And my credit score is actually still pretty good. And in the next 3 months, we're planning on moving out of this place and we got to lease another
No
place
problem.
or
No
whatever,
problem.
right? Oh, okay. Well, let's not tank your credit score before you move. Let's just keep the status quo for a couple months. So it's not like if you have to address your debt, your credit score automatically tanks.
Right.
It's about coming up with a plan that fits your circumstances. And that's why I hate most of these debt relief companies, because they don't give a shit
Oh no,
about
they
your
just enroll you.
circumstances. They just care about making that commission and signing you up. And if it's a debt settlement company, they're not going to care about when you're moving or this, that, and the other, or your lease is up on your car in 6 months. That's a real issue. Hey, my lease is up in 6 months. And you know what? It's easier to get another car, whether I'm going to finance it or lease another one. It's easier if I have a good credit score. Okay, well, let's not cut off your nose to spite your face. Maybe we could do an early termination on the lease and get that transaction handled now. And then we can deal with your debt. Or maybe we need to wait 3 months, or maybe we need to wait 6 months. We come up with a short-term plan to get you through from a cash flow perspective, to get you through that point that you still need that good credit. And then we execute a strategy that gets you out of the debt. There's no one size fits all, but you have to talk to somebody that knows how the hell this stuff works. So I can explain to you, shameless plug, how we can do it and achieve what you want to achieve and ultimately get you on a better path moving forward.
I guarantee you that no frontline credit counselor ever said, let's come up with a strategy that's going to, do that sort of thing and keep you protected before we sign you up into the program.
100%. You don't think they're going to say, let's come up with a strategy that involves me not getting a commission? Hey, I got bills too, bro. Like, no credit counselor, and I'm doing air quotes, or debt settlement salesperson is ever going to come up with a strategy that doesn't involve you giving them money right away. Ever. Because that's what they're there for. If they did, they get fired. Their job is to make money for the company, not help you out.
So, some people would rather stay in debt forever than deal with collection calls, right? They're afraid of the collector. The anxiety and the fear and the stress, it's real. I get it. I was there at one point. You were too. But, what are you really afraid of? You're afraid of the unknown. So let's educate you about it. Let's make it known. I mean, debt collectors, when I started getting debt collection calls so I went bankrupt in 1990. So all my stories are old. But when I got debt collection calls in 89,
and he was bald
yeah,
then.
I was. And I had hairy ears too.
But bankruptcy fixed that, right?
Little nair. Yeah.
I could afford nair after my BK.
So when collectors started calling me back then, wait.
PSA, because I was a young man back in those days. Nair is not recommended for the nether regions. I'll just say that. Don't ask me how I know, but I was in my early 20s.
That would be a dumb move.
It was, Steve. It was. Moving forward, I'm here to help, man. I'm a
Well,
helper. I just want to save you from the mistakes that I may or may not have made in my youth.
yeah, don't do that.
It burns, Steve. It
Oh, I
burns.
can only imagine.
No, you can't. You cannot.
So let's.
He needs some milk.
What?
He needs some milk. That's a meme, Steve. If you're not that old, right? Whenever somebody's hurting in trouble, you could shout, "He needs some
Oh,
milk."
okay. No, I don't know that one.
It's a
Oh, okay.
joke. Look
I
it
don't know.
up. Look it
I
up.
was
Google it. Chat
I
GPT it,
was
bro.
disturbed you were talking about your nether regions and milk. That's
Well, it was. You know what? It crossed my mind. I just need to dunk them.
okay. So get back to collection calls. So I dodged the.
Our show is one of one. Find another financial
It's talking
podcast.
about Damon's nether
I dare you.
regions. Burning.
Burning as bad as my desire to become debt free.
Why does it hurt when I pee? I was going
Show me the way, Dave. Show me the way.
This is some shit you won't hear on Dave Ramsey.
Oh no.
So I was, embarrassed, ashamed, dodged the calls at first, and I took the calls and they stressed me out. And then one day I realized, why don't I flip the script here? Why don't I just try to make the debt collector my friend? And it got to the point where the debt collector would call, and honestly, we would swap recipes. I'd start the call off with, hey, Jim, no, I
What?
still can't pay, but how's your day going? And, what hobbies do you have? I like to cook. How about you? Yeah, I actually swapped recipes with debt collectors. And here's the funny thing is that in 1994, so 4 years later, when I started helping people with debt, I would call back those old collectors and say, all right, Jim, look, I got a client in this situation. And I got the best advice, the best inside advice. It's, hey, look, it's like you. You've made friends at so many creditors, right?
Well, I do, but I do this for a living too.
Yeah.
So I don't know if a consumer really wants to spend their day swapping recipes with a random debt collector.
No, but the point is that I found a way to no longer be afraid.
That's true.
So that fear and shame was not driving my emotional thinking about what I could do about my debt.
Most collectors are good people. Not all, but most collectors are good people and they're just doing their job. And if you're nice to them, they will be nice to you and helpful. I'm not saying they're not also going to be manipulative at the same time, but you could be nice and manipulative.
Yeah, I mean, no
I mean, it is their job.
No debt collector ever solved an account by saying they were going to come over and take you out to dinner. Right? So,
yeah, they're like, see, what? Can I come over? We could just make those tacos you were talking about.
Yeah, sounds great. And then you can still not pay. The biggest problem I think that people make is when they have a debt collector.
Wait, are these tri-tip tacos?
No,
you can afford to pay, bro.
They're unitip tacos.
Unitip.
That the biggest mistake you can make, even if you're trying to be nice, is do not agree to a payment you cannot afford to make. It's much better to say the truth. No, I can't make that payment than it is to promise something and not make it, because that'll just be used against you.
Well, that's how a lot of people get in trouble, is they get worn down and they're just like, I want to get off the phone. This guy is, pushing some buttons here, and fine, I could do that payment. And then they set that up and then their account gets, overdrawn, or they end up in a deal that they should not be in. It wasn't a great deal, but they just wanted to get off the phone.
Years ago, talking about all the free tools, I'm going to bring this one back, I think, this week, in fact. I used to have, 20 years ago on the website, I used to have this thing called the debt confession. And where people could come and they could, type their, and get it off their chest.
Talk to me.
Right. Get it off.
Talk to me, my son.
Get it off their chest about their, their debt, shame, and fear that they were afraid to admit to anybody else. And
100%.
people said, it really helped them feel better about doing it. And oh my God, it was so enlightening. And so just dealing with your debt, whether it's coming to the debt confessional, which this week, probably tomorrow, will be on the getoutofdebt.org site, uh, is real. And talking to somebody like Damon and coming up with a real plan is real, and it is actionable, and it will make your life better today. And I cannot recommend it enough.
I will heretofore be known as the Nair guy. I talked to the Nair guy.
Yeah, the guy with the burning nether regions. Well, you got me in that story. I no.
It tastes like affordability. No, I kid. All right,
dude,
moving on.
you don't want to tie those two things together. So next week we tackle the hardest conversation many of us will ever have. We're going to talk more about your spouse doesn't know. Here's how to tell them. We'll give you the exact scripts, timing, advice, and strategies for making this conversation go as well as possible. This would be a good time to reach out to Damon this week. Come up with that plan and strategy before we give you instructions on how to do it next time. So, Damon?
So this podcast doesn't just give you tactics. It understands what's really going on, the emotions, the shame, the fear. If you need a space where someone gets it, stay subscribed to the Nair guy. So your assignment, write down your fear, the real one, not the excuse you tell others, but the thing that actually keeps you up at night. Then write one sentence about why that fear might be less powerful than you think. Keep that paper somewhere you can see it.
Fear is an MF liar. It tells you that avoiding action keeps you safe. But you're not safe. You're stuck. The way out is through. And we will see you next Thursday, and we'll tackle the hardest conversation. You've got this. I believe in you. Damon, I will see you.
Peace.